Welcome again to Unveiling Africa, one handsome face at a time. Today we have in our midst a presidential aspirant under the platform of the Alliance for a New Nigeria here in Houston to discuss at a conference his intentions for running as president of Nigeria in the 2019 elections. We have here today Mr. Fela Durotoye. Welcome to another installment of Unveiling Africa, one handsome face at a time. We promise to bring you the very best of Africa, and here with us today is a very important personality by all standards of the word important, and he's here telling us about a new Nigeria. I'm sure you all know about Nigeria in the news all over the world. This guy is here to promise us together we will create a new Nigeria. I'll let him introduce himself, but he's a very established and distinguished gentleman. He's going to tell us a bit about what he's all about. I'm sure we'll need a whole day to tell us a lot more about who he is. But this guy, this gentleman is no other but Mr. Durotoye Fela. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Did I say it right?
Yes, Fela Durotoye.
I know your name. I know Fela is a shortened form of another name, and I want you to tell us that name because it's very important here on Unveiling Africa. What names signify? It means a lot, especially in Africa and especially in Nigeria. So tell us what your name is all.
So I think that a lot of people think that Fela is the name of a rascal, but it's not. It's actually the shortened form of a name. And Fela is the shortened form from a name Olufela, which is actually a shortened form from a longer name Oluwafeolami, which means God enlarge my territory, enlarge my wealth, enlarge my asset base. It's actually taken from the prayer of Jabez in the scriptures. When Jabez asked, "Enlarge my territory." So it's a very significant name. It's a name that speaks to potential and the actualization of potential. And
it's very important because I tell people Africans name their children for a very specific reason. His father was not stupid or not any less important when he said, "My son will be called Oluwafeolami," an enlargement of your territory, and that's what you're doing right now. Exactly. Tell me, when did you we all wake up to this calling. I woke up to this calling of doing this to celebrate my continent, because I came to America several years ago, I don't want to date myself, and there's nothing positive about Africa. The only time I hear about anything about Africa or Nigeria for that matter is when it's something negative, and I said I will not promote the negativity, I'll promote the positivity. Amazing. And that's why I trust and I believe in your message and in your movement as well. So tell us now, what sparked this whole drive in you deciding to create a movement? Because I've always said that Nigeria needs a movement, and we need to get like-minded people together, because I know Nigerians are not the people that they're purported to be. We are so much more important. I've been in this country for almost 30 years, and I've never been in any side of the law, anything against the law. I've always been a hard-working individual, and if people got paid for the way they worked, I would be a billionaire. But the good, like you said, and several people have said, even in church today, that the good never sells. It's always a negative stories that sell. So why do you take this upon yourself when you could relax in your mansion, with your family, to do, just live a natural, comfortable life, but so much better.
Yeah. Well, there are a few triggers that came one after the other to, in a way, get me to where I am. A few years ago, I remember I was traveling. First of all, let me quickly say, I'm a business management consultant. I'm a specialist in the area of leadership and culture transformation for organizations. Those are two of the most important and valuable things to help grow individual performance within those organizations, and therefore, of course, collectively corporate performance. So in terms of consulting in Nigeria, most people would say to you that Fela is one of the top consultants in Nigeria. And I have enjoyed success in what I do. But one day I was really traveling to go and speak at a leadership conference in the United States. I had gone through a connecting flight through Gatwick Airport in the United Kingdom. And as we were about to board the flight, something really strange happened. A lady who was just supposed to collect collect our boarding passes, scan through, and just be checking to see that your passport or your photo ID correlates with your boarding pass. Once she saw my photo ID, she asked me to step aside. Didn't explain why, past everybody else. I mean, even before me, there was a very distinguished looking couple, about 70 years old, and she had already asked them to step aside. Of course, soon after she cleared everybody on priority boarding, I realized that apparently it was because our passports were green. And so she brought out something and was scanning the passports, and when she had done the first couple, that she had put aside, and she opened my passport, and I realized it was my visa page that she was looking at. Cut the long story short, I felt very insulted because he's a highly successful man. I mean, I've traveled on that visa for quite a few times. I'm a frequent flyer. I'm an executive club member. Successful by any definition, and yet here I was being treated like and this lady is looking at my visa with the magnifying glass, and so I felt quite insulted. When she passed my passport back to me, I didn't collect it, and I said to her, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, please forgive me, I'm just doing my job." I said, "What's your job?" She said, "Well, I'm told to check every Nigerian passport for the authenticity of their visa." And I'm like, I don't understand. This is a visa that I've used several times. What is it that you're doing with your magnifying glass that the United States Immigration Service would not have been able to do with their computers? And she said, "Look, I'm so sorry. That's just what I was told to do." And the point was, I felt very, very, very bad. I got on the plane and I said something. I typed out a few things that I later put on social media. The first thing I said was, successful citizens of a failed state will forever be treated worse than the ordinary citizens of a great nation. Meaning that no matter how successful you become, if your country is not successful, you will be demeaned.
Yes.
And that was what I said. The second thing I said was individual success in the midst of collective failure will always be despised. And so that was part of the triggers that moved me. And so, there are a few others, but that was one of the most significant that really touched me and got me to realize that I cannot out-succeed my country and that I must be committed to the success of my country just as much as I was committed to my success.
Now, I know that you are here not just to promote your ultimate goal, which is to lead Nigeria, to build a nation. So you're a nation builder, and
my milestone goal is to win the candidacy of my party.
Right.
The next milestone goal is to win the elections, but that's not my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is not just to be president of Nigeria; it's actually to build a new Nigeria that we're all going to be proud of, a nation that is the most desirable nation to live in, the most desirable nation to work in, to do business in, and to build a people that are really vibrant and people who can be trusted, people who will be proud of the nation that they built and will be proud to give it to the next generation, and they'll be grateful to inherit from us. And Nigeria is blessed enough to be able to be these things plus more. And so all I'm doing is just raising the consciousness of our people and asking us to build the nation that we can be.
Thank you so much. I've listened to a lot of your presentations on YouTube. Thank God for social media. I've heard some of them even during this past weekend since you've been traveling, spreading the good news. And I'm just captivated by your intelligence, because every time someone throws a curveball at you, you throw it right back at them. And that is so important, because we need leaders who have vision. And you do have it. Now, my testament here, my question to you is, it's good you reach out to the elites. We are very important people to be associated with. But I'm just saying, the average man, and even during these conversations with people the last few days, I've heard people say, the man can do it, but will it really work? Because the average man down there in the offices, you go down there. My poor father hasn't got his pension paid for years. He was the first architect in Edo State. Very well, intelligent man, had integrity, never took a bribe in a day in his life. In fact, he would have been the richest billionaire architect in the world if he had done so. And he is going to get paid. How do you change the mindset of those people? Those little ones who don't realize that, this guy is he's talking about a new Nigeria where people are respected, compassionate, intelligent. integrity-wise, how do you touch those people in the trenches? I know you're...
Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, I think the most important thing is, like you said, the people in the trenches are we call them the grassroots. But one of the things I really want to say is that, everyone that you call the elites, people like yourself and myself, we all have our roots in the grass.
That's true.
We all have someone and people who are in the villages, who are in the cities, who are in the towns, people who we send money to, who we call from time to time, people who share our heart and our heritage, people who we care for. And so the truth about it is that if you can get the people that we typically call the elites today, who are people who typically don't vote, to actually begin to have a sense of ownership for the mandate to build a new Nigeria, they will not only vote, but they will influence the people that they normally send money to. And there are more of those people than the people who typically collect money and collect money to vote. Yes. So what I know for sure is this: that we can raise a critical mass of 30 million new voters who will change next year's election, and we can do that if we can get 5 million people who are aware about the impact of building a nation, the benefits of building a nation, and they will then, most importantly, fund this movement. Because
that was my next question.
I mean, the truth about it is that the reason why many people get into government and are not able to do great things is that the people who funded them need returns on their investment.
True.
Okay, and the people who are their godfathers are the ones who dictate for them everything else. He that pays the piper dictates the tune. What we want is to be able to have our allegiance to the people of Nigeria, but the people of Nigeria must be the ones who will fund it. And those who have the money to fund it are the ones who never really run for office and don't get their voters cards. So they're the ones that we're talking about. They're the ones that we're reaching out to through social media, through all these town hall meetings, and they are responding and they're buying in. I mean, and that's the kind of thing that happened. They're giving us their opportunities. They're giving us their platforms. It is working, and people will be pleasantly surprised at the results of this. They will be.
I am looking forward to that, and I believe in you already. I truly believe that this happens, because this has been my prayers. I guess prayers get answered, because I've always said there must be some intelligent Nigerians who can just take this baton and run with it.
And I believe that, like you said, there must be intelligent Nigerians. This is not just about Fela Durotoye. This is about getting a group of people and 588 elected officials that are going to be sworn in. I mean, how difficult should it be for us to find 1,588 people who have competence, who are competent, who have capacity, who are capable, and who have the right character, because they've got strong values, who have a great vision for the country, and who have compassion in their hearts. Look, these people exist, but most of the time they're hiding in their offices or their homes, spending time on their phone, complaining. They're frustrated because their answers are in them, and yet they haven't been able to find a platform to express it. We're saying it's time for you to come out. The platform exists. You don't need, the platform I'm running on, Alliance for New Nigeria, you heard it today. The chairman was here. There is no godfather. Even the chairman is telling you there's no godfather.
Spoke with him too.
Nobody. You don't need anybody's permission to run for office on ANN. ANN has promised one thing and one thing only: to offer a free and fair platform to everyone who would like to aspire on that political platform. So there's no one you have to beg. There's no one you have to know. If you've got great ideas, come, join the party. If you don't want it, and then look for any other one you like. Join a party. Get your voter's card. Call the people that are within your circle of influence. Let them know that you want to do something. And if you don't want to do it yet, no problem. But get somebody involved. That's the most important thing. Get involved. Don't just stand by the sidelines and hope that a new Nigeria will emerge. Get people involved.
Now, I know there's some very pertinent problems right now in the country that are affecting everybody. That they're so afraid to talk about it that they would even still vote for the same man who is causing the same problems, whatever the problems are. But one of them is this herdsman, and I've never heard this problem before in all my life, reading about Nigerian politics. If you, or when you get into that kind of in that position, what do you think you can do about that situation? What is the critical answer to this? Because it's getting widespread and becoming a constant nightmare for the average Nigerian. Not even so much so that they're bypassing the electricity and the water and saying, what are we going to do? People are coming to our farms and killing us, especially down in the south. What is this problem? What's the dichotomy here?
Well, I think that there are two dimensions to the herdsman prices. Number one is even with, as you would see, I mean, if you come into Nigeria today, it's almost a menace. I mean, everywhere you go, even in the cities, you see cows and all over the place eating grass, eating flowers, eating anything, and there is no sense of control. There's no sense of, limits to where they can go, and that is wrong.
Wrong.
Okay, that's number one. Number two is that there is also a terrorist, let me call it a terrorist movement that has also been currently labeled the herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen. These are people with sophisticated weapons. They are people with sophisticated levels of influence within even the security apparatus of Nigeria. And so, just to be clear, there are two separate things. But it's because they are currently linked. I mean, for many of the people who you actually see with the cows, they don't have any guns, right? But the people who have guns are coming on the back end of those guys, and there's some kind of expansionist ideology that is behind what it is that they're doing. That's a private business. They own their cows, right? It is, and those guys, they go on the streets, and everybody has to stop their cars. And I think that it's something that we have tolerated for long enough.
Totally.
I think that this problem has been solved all over the world, and we're not going to be the first person or first kind of people to solve it. So the first thing that we need to do is to let people know it's unacceptable. That's what they did in Ghana, and they solved that problem. In fact, I think the president of Ghana said something that really, it pained me, but at the same time I knew it was true. He said when they were telling the people, go and buy land and keep your cattle in ranches, and he said, this is not Nigeria. We will not tolerate nonsense. And that was it was a jab, but I knew it was true. We have to help them understand. You are, and look, whatever your cultural ideologies are, you do not have a right to trespass into other people's land. It just isn't right, and if you do so, there will be consequences. But you also have to strengthen your security agencies.
That's what my next question.
And your judiciary, because the law actually does not allow trespassing. And whether you come in with cows or you come with anything else, the law does not allow you to go into private property. So the law should be able to protect you, but more importantly, the security agencies should be able to protect you. Today, we hear of how security agencies actually literally collude with these guys. So we are hearing that, even when the terrorist groups seem to be coming to attack a city or a town, all of a sudden, many of the security agents in that and checkpoints in that area will disappear. Okay, and nothing will happen until they've done all that carnage. So, and more importantly, it's a fact that no security official has been fired for any of the things that are going on. So, so we know that there is something that is complicated there, but it's not a complicated thing. It's just that there are people complicating it. So what would we do? Again, make sure that you strengthen, and I've said this before, fix your law and order, fix your judiciary, fix government, and you would solve these problems. How would you solve them? Make sure that you put the right people in the security agencies who are appointed based on merit and not based on where they come from. You make sure that you do that all down the line, and make sure every head of unit is an intelligent, is an accountable, it's an expert at what they do. And we do have experts in our defense, whether it's police, whether it's army, whether it's any of those things. We do have very intelligent people in Nigeria who outshine their counterparts every time they are on international assignments. So we just have to get those people, and they're already there. Just empower them. The next thing you do is give them the resources they need. Okay, and make sure that they have the level of intelligence that they're able to have, and you invest in that. And most importantly, you make sure that if they don't deliver, you fire them. And when people know that they're going to lose their jobs if they don't deliver, they will always do a better job than. So my point is this: get the right people, empower them, give them the resources, but then hold them accountable. And that's what I'm going to do as president. No Nigerian life will be lost, and I say this very carefully. There's no one that can guarantee that no one will die under your watch, but I can tell you that no one will die under my watch unnecessarily and every life matters to me.
Good. Now, you talked about accountability. You talked about integrity. We have people who already do this, but people hold them accountable in the negative sense, in the sense that they ask you, "Is it your father's job? Why do you want to go kill yourself about with this job? Are you going to? How are you going to account for those who to account for themselves?" You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, one of the most important things that I have done all my professional lives, like I said before, is culture transformation. I've managed the process of transforming culture from large organizations to small organizations, in the private sector, in the public sector. And so one thing I have found out is that really, human beings are pretty much the same. We're unique, but we're all the same. People want things to work, but the problem is when they are not sure that the system will work, then they have to find a way to work themselves and work them systems into it. So I found out that many times when we've done reorientation courses, people always want to work their best. They want to give their best. They want to be their best, but they just have to have a reason to do so. Many times that's what people call motivation or inspiration. And so when people say to me that, "Oh, he's just an inspirational speaker," I say to you, what do you think Nigerians need the most right now? They need to be inspired to be their best. They need to be inspired. And so the kind of president that inspires Nigerians as a collective, driving the values through our hearts, will be the kind of president that we need. And we've got 10 values that we're driving in as a national creed. That's one of the things we're offering Nigerians. Number one, to make a positive impact on everyone they meet and everywhere they go. Number two,
and you do that already,
to be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. Number three, to be a role model worthy of emulation, and thank you for that. Number four, to be your best in all you do, particularly the things you're naturally good at. Number five, to do the right thing at all times, regardless of who's doing the wrong thing or who's watching. Number six, to value time and make the best use of it. Number seven, to care and show respect to all through your words and your actions. Number eight, to consciously build a great legacy starting now, today, and every day. Number nine, to live a life of integrity and honor. And for number 10, to make your family, your nation, and your God proud. And we'll have to invest mightily and greatly in a reorientation program that will find a way to take these values and throw them into the hearts of people through television, through radio, through billboards, through newspapers, partnering with private organizations to drive it, partnering with the religious institutions, making sure we take those values and drive them into education through our curriculum, so you're going to have to work through. But the most important thing is to demonstrate it at leadership. If Fela leaves those 10 values, as I have tried to leave those values for most of my adult life, and most people say, "Fela, these values are exactly what it is we experience of you," the chances are the people that are like you are going to be the ones that will join you. And you then stipulate and say, "This is how we behave." And so the values of the head will soon become the culture of the body. So my point is to say that
the values of the head will soon become the culture of the body.
And that's how it works. So bottom line is this: I believe very strongly that we have the capacity to be able to change the culture of the civil servant, of the public servant, and even in the private sector. And so it can be done. It will be done. Given the platform and the opportunity, we will do it.
I know you will do it, and I believe you, because you put God first in all that you do. And if we can all believe in that and believe that God comes first, it's the purpose of our lives is not for us, it's not for me and you, it's for God. It's God's purpose for us here on land.
Yes, and I think that God is such an important part of what makes up real great leadership, because truth be told, any leader that does not fear God will rule over people, will not lead them. He will subdue and suppress people, because you have no fear or no sense of accountability to anyone who's greater than you. And because what your position does is to give you authority that makes you feel like you're greater than others, then you would abuse that power and that authority. Those who are God-fearing are bound internally by their fear of the fact that I am accountable to someone who can see what I'm doing, even if nobody else can arrest me. So I think that's a very important part of it.
Thank you. We can go on and on and on, because you're so intelligent, so good. I'm so proud to be talking to you like this, because I've never thought I'll ever speak to a Nigerian official, I don't want to say politician, or official leader, a leader.
And I can promise you that there are millions of people like me.
Sure they are.
And what the only thing is that, again, when you when you have the position and platform of authority, it's easier for you to attract people like yourself. And I've always said this cannot be about Fela, but this is going to be about people who share the same values with me, share the same vision with me, and I'm happy that you are one of those people. Many people who are listening and watching by TV, and you can be one. So join the movement. And if you want to join the movement, please go to www.feladurotoye.net. Go to sign up under that. Otherwise, you do www.feladurotoye.net/teamfd, and that's the way to join us. And let's make this happen together. I can't do this by myself. It'll take more than one man to make this happen, but we all want the same thing. And so if you want a Nigeria that works, if you want a Nigeria where things work, if you want a Nigeria where everyone has the opportunity to add value, to solve problems, and to help make things work, and they can do it with their passion, their joy, their talents, so that they're joyfully engaged. If you want a nation that its economy is growing and people find opportunities and employment to dream and to start businesses, and to these things can be done. We are blessed enough as a nation to be a great nation, and we can be a nation that we will be proud to give to our children, and they will be grateful to receive. But we must build it. Nations are not gifts from government; they are built by people. So let's do this, and let's not be disappointed every time that somebody comes and promises you something that they cannot deliver. Let's do this together. We will deliver this nation together, and that's what I have to share with you.
Thank you so much.
So join the movement, please. Do whatever you can, connect, and I'm sure that they'll probably put also fundraising details on the screen. So please go to our GoFundMe account, do what we can. We're not run by big money, we're not run by cabals, we're not run by godfathers. We are run by the people, and that is where we're giving the power to the people. That's why our allegiance is to the people. So let's do this together, because together we can deliver the future of this great nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On a lighter note, before you leave, what's your favorite Nigerian food?
Moi moi.
I love moi moi too.
And akara.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Thanks for coming, and wishing you all the very best. And we will be behind you, in front of you, and right all around you. Thank you. Good luck in your movement. Thank you.